So welcome to our sharers training call. We do this once a week. We do new brand partners, and then we have a patching community. We had some brilliant questions asked around patches and patching and technology, and then a little bit around best price on maintenance packs. And so you can feel free to bring your patching community onto that call if they're already a brand partner. And now we are in what we call sharing coaching, sharing training. You are people on this call, or you know people that are going to turn around to you and say, hey, I'd love to cover my cost of product. I don't want to commit to like huge activity in this business, but I do want to help a few people, or I do want to cover the cost of my own product, which we often say the model of this business is David Schmidt himself kept it in direct selling, so no one has to say they can't afford this technology. So what we're going to do today in our sharing coaching is just talk about two big insights, and it is, what do you order every month so that you can be active for ways that the company will pay you and not leave money on the table. And then we're also going to talk to Gay and Rhonda, and haven't even told Rhonda this, I'll get you involved as well. Andrew, myself, Gay, Rhonda, and some of the team were all together this last week in regional Australia at a huge farm festival. So I'll save the last 5 minutes to talk about maintenance packs. So, Gay, will you just come up and just tell your highlights first of their Henty Festival? And then, Rhonda, I'm going to have you do the same.
Lots of highlights. Probably the best thing I needed was to be pushed out of my comfort zone. I've done a few people here and there, but the multitude of people at that event, which they were saying there was 50,000 people went through that event over the 3 days, and the number of exhibitors. And the highlight was for me is that I've done street markets here in Dubbo, and I hadn't actually left my stall to go and talk to the other stall holders other than the ones right next to me. And at the field days, I actually got to go and speak to other independent business people. All those store holders are people who are trying to make an income. And so to look at it from that perspective, and that, they're working so hard to sell stuff, a bad event, or if it rained or anything, would absolutely knock them around. And so I saw them from a different perspective as, I don't know, not just someone you buy stuff off, but them as a business person and the thing that affects them. So looking at what this business could do for them in a business, or for them physically. Lots of them are standing up all day long. They're doing weekend after weekend of markets as their business. So they're working flat out to get it ready. They're standing all weekend. So a lot of them have lots of health issues as well. So that was my highlight, was the combination of both. You've got people that are, needing what we've got. It will change their lives, and we have the answer. That's the other thing, is to know I'm the answer to people's prayers, because what I've got in my hands. And that they're business people, everyday people doing business. So I think
Yeah,
that was the greatest highlight for me.
that's awesome. And Rhonda, for you.
Well, a few things, but the one thing I think I learned the most, and I thank Andrew and Vanessa for this, because I had the opportunity. Vanessa went with me, and then Andrew went with me to a final, and it was a stall holder, just to learn to listen more, not to be sharing so much. I think Andrew said, let them talk this much and you put a little bit then, and then let them talk this much and you have a little bit to say. And that was a big thing for me. The main thing I'd learned, and I encourage everyone, it was good to be outside. I live in a small village area where everybody knows everybody. And so it's your close friends have been open to what I wanted to share about the patches, and many of them have joined. The next steps have been harder locally. So to go and just be bold and confident that you just start the conversation. And no matter what the conversation is, let them talk, and people give away where they're at and what they're about. And so, very quickly, I think in the end, I'd spoken over the 3 days to 30 people. Now, were they all interested? Semi, and about 10 I knew I could write off straight away. The rest I've been going back with. And again, the one thing I learned from Andrew and Vanessa, or Andrew very specifically said, 24, 48 hours, leave it any longer and it's too long. So I pushed through all those in that first 24, just 24 hours really. And many of them pushed me back to this coming week, said, oh, look, we're really busy. We're just moving. We're traveling home from the field days because people traveled as far as, we're in middle of New South Wales, so they travelled as far as from Western Australia, Victoria, Tasmania, South Coast. So people have come a long distance and they didn't want to talk about it yet. So that was interesting. What else did I put down just quickly? Because I wasn't ready for this today. Should be ready at all times with Andrew and Vanessa. um, yeah. Oh, I know. Um, I took two of my team, the ones that were ready to build or wanted to. One's very reserved. The other one is a young, well, she's my daughter-in-law, and it's been on our WhatsApp and Facebook a little bit. She is keen. She's studied it. She's used the patches, but she was reserved in going out. And she had the blessing of going with Vanessa, with myself, and Gay was there, and just her confidence has now jumped that she's ready to build because she had that opportunity. So it's giving your team opportunity, and worked with her. She went manager purely because she was there. So that was exciting. That's about it.
So good.
Thanks,
So happy.
Vanessa.
Steph. Amazing, amazing. And well done. Huge investment. Like you invested in that financially, Gay invested in that. And but really what you've done is longer term, and whether it's just the purchases there, it's what you learn along the way. So brilliant. So, Gay, let's talk for a second because I did give you a little bit more notice. A few takeaways because you actually landed orders. And so, team, I know our Canadian team. Hello, Ottawa. Hello, amazing team. You have a festival coming up, and a lot of people do. And we have come back from that festival so convinced, 100% convinced it is a great strategy. So, as a dream team, we'll be putting more resources over time together. They may not happen in time for the Canadians, but I know Andrew just said this is a way forward for a lot of people if they can cluster together as a team. Gay, let's hear just a few of your tools and tricks you learnt to actually get orders in the moment, and let's just celebrate what you got. So come off mute and tell us what you got ordered in the moment.
Okay, so over the 3 days, I spoke to a lot of people and I actually got 2 premium packs out of the weekend. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And the way that happened is that I have a real desire to listen to people, but like Rhonda, sometimes I have to practice to say less because it's easy to say more as you're hearing people's hearts and what's going on. And one lady who I signed up as a premium particular, she was very keen to know about what she told me what she needed in her family, and it was a husband, brain issues, a son who's on the spectrum, and herself. She kind of talked to herself about herself a little bit, but it was more like the energy and stamina to be able to do life with a family. So I picked up on those and I thought, well, that's 3 people. That's a lot of patches. If she's talking about all 3 of them. And I've always been someone who buys in bulk because I like good value compared to buying just enough for what I need now. So if you looked in my cupboards, you would find I have 2 or 3 of the same thing because I don't want to have to go shopping all the time. I don't want to have to remember to get stuff all the time, and I want the best value. So I actually talk that to people. And when I can see, and this lady was adding up the numbers so much to the point that when I showed her the price list, she was dividing the price of the numbers of patches. And she told me that the 3 sleeves were, I think, $5.77 or something each patch. And then the premium would be just on 5 or just under $5 each. So I could see she was just adding them up. And so I just reassured her that it was the best value if she was wanting to do for all of them, how long they would last for if all 3 of them were patching. On the X39, I had talked about Aeon. That's another strategy I use. I go straight to Aeon as the support patch because everybody has inflammation. So it's not, you're not prescribing anything. You're not trying to do the whole, I know the whole lot about everything. I know inflammation. Other people know what inflammation is. So I bring that into the conversation. And this lady actually had Aeon into order when she worked out what she wanted. And it took not just on the spot. She went away and thought about it. She came back, and thankfully Rhonda was on the stand because I was lost somewhere up the other end of the 14 kilometres of road in this event. And she helped to fill in the paperwork. But when I talked to her, she said, I just don't know what I want, basically in the support patches, how many. So she said, I'll ring you back tomorrow. And I'm always a little bit cautious you'll ring me because not everybody does ring you. But she did ring me the next day and she said, this is what I've decided. So I had allowed her the time to walk away with it. And I did that because I saw how much detail she was going through with working out what would work for them. Some people, you might lose them. They'll go, oh, too much money. But you know, the funny thing, when I did ring her back that first day to see what she wanted, she was off buying a tractor for her son. And I thought, how many people have a conversation with someone who's buying a tractor? So that was a bit of fun. The other one was a very elderly couple. So you want me to go through that one as well?
Yeah, I just want to note, just for training purposes, I love that you're saying, Gay, you asked questions. Who will you be patching? Probably before you even get to how much does it cost, ask the question, well, who will you be patching and what would you like to see accomplished from that? So, because the second you say the cost, and we were training this out yesterday, you're gonna say fairly early on, we're talking about less than a cup of coffee a day. So this is how we always start the conversations, either presentation or this. Early on in anyone we're meeting, hey, this technology, I don't know if you're familiar with how much stem cell technology can be. Oh yeah, like $30,000. You basically say, what do you know about stem cells? But very quickly, you're going to just, if you're in person, nearly like lean over, go in and go like, this is less than a coffee a day. So we'll talk about that later. And then when they say how much, you want to ask another question. Well, that depends on how much you buy at once and who you're patching. So write that down, those of you that are about to go in person, because that is where Gay and I watched her, and I would have coached and said she spent too long with that person, but I wasn't listening. So she told me later what was happening, but she asked the questions before she necessarily tells the price. So really make a note of that. Thanks, Gay. And then your next
Yeah,
one, the beautiful
that is
couple.
something that I do is I love that lead in. Probably with that person, they had actually seen the presentation that was done on stage at the event as well, which was like a 10 or 15-minute explanation. So she already had a bit of an understanding. So I
Yeah,
was probably able to leverage off that in what
yeah,
we were doing. And yes, I always say to people, do you know that stem cells are the most of the therapy that people know about these days costs an absolute fortune? I've got a couple of examples because I then did the Dubbo markets on Sunday as well, after being down at Henty. And I find that because I say to people, what do you know about stem cells? And some people go, oh, nothing. Other people go, oh, I know about stem cells. And then I'll actually say, so tell me, what do you know about them? What have you heard? Listen to them. A lot of them are very general things that people are having it. That's okay. So they don't know anything about the actual stem cells, just that they're hearing that is what's something that's, I don't know, happening in the world. And then I will lead into that with, I've got two examples of people I know that a lady who's got a bunged up knee because of skiing, she was going to go to Mexico and have stem cell injections. That meant they've got 3 kids. They would have all gone over there, made it a holiday, but it would have been an expense where they're away from work, lose work time and things like that. So I do try to bring that in to give people a perspective, because I will have people who will push me for the price. And
yeah.
like you were saying, not upfront, because people will just use that an excuse to go, oh no, that's too much, and walk away. So yes, that's really important to be able to share if you know an example, or if you can pinch somebody else's example and use that, either.
That's awesome. And then the second premium, how did that play out for you?
A lovely older couple. He actually turned 85 the day after I signed him up. and they don't have technology. They only have a landline phone that diverts to a mobile. So that was almost a little bit tricky, because he didn't give me the mobile. He said, no, just ring the house. And anyway, what had happened is when I rang his house, it diverted to the mobile. He didn't answer in the and the message told me his mobile number. So actually was able to get it that way. So that's just a little trick. But he's got back pain. She's losing her memory to a degree. He's concerned about her health. And I don't think that money was an issue. So when I talked to them about value and how long it would last for them, he said, yes, that's the one I'd want, was the premium. And so on the first day, I just talked to them, and he came back to me. I saw them a bit later when I was walking around in the actual pavilion that we were in, said, hi, how you going? And just talked to them a little bit. And then on the third day, I'd actually seen them walk through the pavilion, and I thought, oh, they mustn't be coming back. And I had to run up the other end to see some other people at one stage. And just as I was about to leave that particular pavilion, I thought I'll go left, and then thought, oh no, I might get lost if I go that way. So I thought I'd better go the same way that Andrew and Vanessa have gone so I don't get lost. And I bumped into that couple. And he said to me, I was wanting to come and see you to find somewhere that we could sit down together and go through it. So it was just like, I think, allowing them that time. Now they're going to be a different couple in that I'm going to post information to them. So I'm going to photocopy some of the thing about the support patches, and I'm going to put it in the post to them, and I will just sort of love on them a little bit at a time and talk to them on the phone. So they were very different to what I would be looking for, but we're incredibly, like, the term lean in, they lent in beautifully.
Yeah, love it. So brilliant. All right. Well, let's talk for a moment about language. Okay. So I know the Canadians are about to go and do this, and I'm going to actually stay on longer if you wanted to wait a few minutes longer, the Canada team, and we can really drill down on this so we can maximize your opportunity. There was a few things we learned on the day. People love local. People love at these kind of festivals, regional things, people are looking for local. Who's my local distributor? They're used to language. So we shifted our language. We didn't call ourselves brand partners. We actually called ourselves distributors because it was a bit more old school and it's what they're familiar with. There's tractor distributors, there's this distributors, there's that distributors. Brand partners, quite a modern term. Most of these people wouldn't have really understood what it was. So we also said we are here in this local region looking for local distributors. So Andrew and I particularly, will always go for that business partner, but I'm not going to say I'm looking for a business partner. I'm going to say we're looking for local distributors. Where are you from? So again, if you can shift the conversation fairly quickly to like, well, we've so wanted to tap into Canberra, or wherever that person is from. Can we just stay connected about this conversation, even if you're not ready yet to purchase? You might know someone in your neighborhood. You might know, so even a no. Hey, who else do you know? So you're always, every single lead you're getting, you're not just thinking, are you about to land a sale? You're thinking, who is this person's world about to open me up to? That's how you really want to treat connections. The second thing is when you are going in early to set up, that's when you want to go start the conversations. The minute you put up that banner, especially where we were out there, the second you put up that banner, and I experienced this actually in high-end Main Beach where I live, the second you put up that banner, you categorize yourself as woo-woos. Like just the banner alone is like, what is this? Who are you? Like, what is like this, right? So the more relationship you build quickly, the more people don't just see a sign, although the sign's amazing, but I'm talking about distributors now. I'm talking about other exhibitioners. You get to build relationship because it's not just a quick relationship you're building, it's an ongoing relationship that you're building. Secondly, when they say how's business and you say how's business, because you will connect across the days with these these store owners, the thing that you want to start doing fairly on is, well, I'm actually not looking for a sale for every person that comes over. I'm looking for brand partners, or I'm looking, and our company is so hugely generous. We're not looking for the 1 in 2 sales. If we got 1 in 30 sales, we're covering our cost of being here. So now it depends what it is, right? Like, but you want to also teach other business owners where they're going to get $2 for the oil that they've just made, or the thing that their skincare that they've just created, or the effort of the baking the goods, or whatever it is. Even for us, we just partnered with a guy because his commission per sale of his pain product is nothing like what our advanced or our premium commissions are. And so fairly early on, you'll choose your personality. For us at Main Beach, where we did the markets for that whole year, we would come in later than them. We'd leave early. We were called the teenagers to everyone else. And we got good enough friends that I'd be like, how's business for you today? What did you make? And they'd say a few hundred. And they'd say, what did you make? I'm like, those 2 sales, if they come through, I've just made over $1,500 Australian, or whatever it was. And they're like, what? And that's how you have to talk to these kind of store owners. And you don't want to gloat. Of course, it depends on the personality, but I really want to encourage people talk about money, talk about business, ask how was sales for you today, ask the questions, let them ask you the questions. And then be like, well, we're in a really generous company. They pay 60% of everything that comes into this $1 billion company. And so a lot of our people really get, generously compensated. So of course you do it in your way, do it with your voice. But any quick comments or questions, or Gay or Rhonda who've done this before, any extra things you would add into that when it comes to talking to distributors and store owners? Okay, Gay.
I found a good lead in with people was, how's it been for you? Have you noticed there's been a lot of people come through? And then that would start a conversation, and they would say to me, oh, you're a store holder too? And I'd say yes. And they say, oh, what do you do? So they were inviting me to tell them about the patches, instead of the feeling that you have to go and tell them about the patches. And if you've got a couple of days with the same place, you can say, well, how was it yesterday for you? Or did you find yesterday it dropped off at 3 o'clock where it had been flat out before that? So you can use some of the what's going on around you to then lead in, but then they ask you what you're doing. I found that was easy.
Camaraderie. It's your people. Like, they are more your people than the people that are going to buy from you. Rhonda.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. Because there was too many of us to be on the stall at once, we often had 4 of us. So we'd see that was 1 or 2 left there. Pardon me, sorry. I found that I would wander around, just wandering, and in the end, they got to know you. You just the same bit like Gay. Oh, how's it been for you today? How are you going? And right at the very last day, that's where Vanessa and I had wandered, and this one woman, she said, "Oh, what do you do here?" And we shared about the patches, or I did. This is before I took Vanessa back with me, and she said, "Oh, will you put one on here and you can have a laugh at this?" But she lifted her top right up and she wanted it on her belly, and it was here we out in the middle of everyone seeing. But she just wanted to know, and where's your stand, and what are you doing, and tell me how will it work for me? But she just wanted a patch on her. But it came from she'd seen me wandering around and around, and some of them are really happy to chat to you, and it would be just that they'd seen us. And I think it's just building that, hi, how you doing today? A bit like Gay said, and the doors opened. And I think the most important part is to, you know, if there's pushback, that's okay. You just keep letting them talk and hear what they're saying.
Okay. All right, so we're going to wrap up if people need to go, but I want to go 2 last things. So some of these stall owners are just, their stories are amazing. It's that asking questions. How did you even come up with this product? How did you join your company? Ask questions of stall hold own. They're legends. They're grassroots entrepreneurs. There's no one more entrepreneurial than them. Honor them, elevate them, celebrate them. Then come in fairly quickly, though, to help them understand your product may not be in competition to their product. So a lot of people in the wellness space and the technology, like especially these kind of, if they've got creams or they've got this or they've got that, even this pain thing like that we were, using, if they come in like that, then they might think, why would I want yours? It's in competition. Well, just remember, there is no competition to ours. And so rather than be all gloaty about that, we just say this could be such a compliment to the way your product helps people. And that's what that language gave amazing bridges to these other people. In fact, if you're open and curious, and since you're already in this health space, if I patched you and gave you a sample of this technology, can I get your real-time feedback on this in the next 24 to 48 hours based on how you'd usually feel at the end of a big day like this? So you do need to go to these things with product, the one sample patch. That's all you're talking. Now, we went back day 2, we went back day 3. So there was some 15 US dollar investments we made, but we're getting the sales from those investments because these are relationships we built over those few days. Lastly, match someone's energy, and then of course bring your own energy. Gay and I walked past this one guy, a vacuum sealer guy, so big sales. Like, think he's probably been in the, and he's been in this company for what? Did he say 40 years, Gay, or 20 years? So, hey ladies, hey, do you need your fresh sealed, like your meat all sealed a bit better? Like, they're used to that energy. And so we match the energy. I'm like, I'm going to come talk to you if you listen to what we do here. So it was like big energy back, right? Big energy back. So then I am like, well, what do you make from this? And I went bold. Like, I went really, really bold with him because his energy was bold. I'm like, you would be brilliant at this. Do you have any other thing that you're doing? Are you making good money right now? Like, do you have to do this every weekend? Like, it was just, are you open to another opportunity, right? So there you've got these moments. Now, here's the other thing. These people are going to not lock eyes with you for too long because you're trying to sell them something while they're trying to get sales from everyone walking past. So you don't have a lot of time, and you might not have a lot of time with the store hold on distributors in the moment. That's why go early or stay late as people are packing down, and honor their business. Once you've locked eyes with them, a bit of energy, move to the side so they can start looking around for the people they're trying to look to sell something to. Be encouraging. For me, it was like, hey, he's great, come and look at what he's got. Like, it's like, build that, you know what I mean, like build that camaraderie, build that trust there as well. And they would be our big wins, and we're pretty excited about the kind of people we'll partner with from something like this. So it's right on, just on the half an hour. Gay and Rhonda, your insight was amazing. Working with you was such an honor. Andrew's just come in. We were like fired up about this model for business. If you maximize it, see it as an investment, every single lead you get is a 24 to 48 hour follow up 100%. If you're going to invest a patch, it's 5, Australian dollars. And see it though that it's only exchanged for a proper number right there and then. Make sure they get the text message. Ask them, can you text them straight away? Most people in stores aren't getting that, so you want to get the text message straight away, check they've got it, and then give them a patch. Yeah. Rhonda, did you want to say something?
No, I was just listening and absorbing all still. And I think that was the other thing that I learned. unknown she will remain. Someone said, "Oh no, don't patch," but I learned you need to use the investment. It's seed sowing gain. I was chatting about this later. The investment was big for the field days for 3 days, but it's like, and we were farmers. It's like sowing that seed. It doesn't come in overnight. It's months, maybe 6 months, 10 months down the track for your harvest. So that's the way we've looked at it and just learnt so much. The coaching, we've got brilliant coaches that are just there supporting us. So Andrew and Vanessa, full marks to you. We were so blessed. Thank you.
It was
So proud.
great to be there and to see you both and everyone that got out there and made it happen and open. I mean, when it comes to coaching, when people are open, they grow. And so you're all so open and super excited for the future of the success of this for you guys.
I'm celebrating you, Rhonda. Someone asked a question of your daughter-in-law, and do you remember the question? Actually, it was a really. Do you remember the question?
That asked.
She said that lady said to your daughter-in-law, who was so open and coachable, and that's why I believe she hit manager and she's got a great leader in you. But someone asked her, do you have to wear this? As soon as they've seen the price, their next question is, do you wear this forever? So she is so into this and has had such transformation. She went to say, yes, why wouldn't you, right? Like, 'cause that's what we want to say. Rhonda just gently put her hand on her back and she just kind of stopped talking for a minute, and it gave me a chance to jump in and say, do you know what? There is no obligation to how long you wear this for, but once you start getting results, you'll make some decisions. So then she just allowed Rhonda, just with her little like tap on the back, allowed her daughter-in-law to learn something.
Usually I get a kick in the shins or an elbow in the ribs, but I think I want Rhonda's style next time. Vanessa.
Gentle little like pat on the back.
The funny thing was, I didn't realize Vanessa saw it, and it was just a tap, tap, tap. Anyway, that was awesome.
And it doesn't matter. Even if she'd said what she'd said, you got to trust the process. You don't say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person. So it's all just learning, right? So yeah, it's awesome.
Brilliant.
All right, I'm going to stop recording, and we'll do more of this kind of training because I know people are super eager.